Another delay in a change in Safe Streets management that should have been done months ago. New today, we pressed the mayor on why it's taking so long.
This was all supposed to be wrapped up by January. What's going on?
Serious red flags raised over Baltimore's Clean Court program. We question how more than $250,000 went missing. Today starts a stretch of rainy days, how long the showers will last, and when we could see the heaviest downpours.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 4.
Well, Fox 45 News is demanding accountability on two big stories today. Thank you for joining us. I'm Mary Bubala.
And I'm Maxine Stryker. First, Baltimore leaders give the green light for more money to a Safe Streets contractor. Mackenzie Frost is standing by live. Why this nonprofit was supposed to be done working with Safe Streets months ago.
And Mayor Scott provides $15 million for cleaning underserved neighborhoods in Baltimore. First on Fox, word that part of that money is now unaccounted for.
This is exactly the scenario we were trying to avoid. Clean Court needs to be shut down.
Rebecca Pryor leads us off live with this investigation you're seeing first on Fox tonight. Rebecca?
That's right. That local nonprofit was hired by the city to help pick up trash. But now we're learning that they're being accused of wasting hundreds of thousands of COVID relief dollars. Take a look. At the start of this year, the city signed Lazarus Wright to a 2-year, $1.6 million contract. But in just 4 months, a fourth of the funding was gone. According to a letter obtained by Fox 45 by May, that contract null and void. The city citing a misuse of funds, potentially totaling up to $267,000. Shocking for some, but for Desmond Stinney, he says the writing was on the wall. Stinney is the man behind Concerned Citizens of Baltimore, a grassroots group suing the city over rolled back recycling services. And he says before the contract was granted, he discovered the owner of Lazarus Wright had filed for bankruptcy, and his home was also in foreclosure.
We certainly made our concerns, known as we realized that the Lazarus Wright was set to receive money.
The mayor's office and the law department?
Yes.
Did they get back to you?
Well, we didn't get any direct response back from the administration. All that we got was notice that the award was actually given.
Now, Fox 45 reached out to both the city and Lazarus Wright for comment today. Stay with us. We'll tell you how they're responding in our full story coming up tonight at 5. Reporting live in Baltimore City, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Rebecca, thank you. Well, meantime, the city's spending board okayed a contract today extension for a community nonprofit managing a Safe Streets site.
The issue is the nonprofit was supposed to be done working with Safe Streets nearly 6 months ago.
Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost joins us live. Mackenzie, what is going on?
So, Mary and Maxine, this contract was between the city and Park Heights Renaissance, and it was for the Park Heights Safe Streets location. Now, it was supposed to wrap up by earlier this year. Mayor Brandon Scott announced a shift in management, and this Safe Streets location was supposed to be managed by LifeBridge. That transition was supposed to wrap up in January, but we know that this now is extension. This is the second time the city has done this no-cost contract extension. Now, this contract is in place through the end of August. And after the Board of Estimates meeting earlier today, Mayor Brandon Scott not really providing much insight into what's going on.
Well, listen, we still have stuff going on. There's a process that you have to go through. We know that Park Heights Renaissance and the city has a great relationship. You don't hear them complaining. The Safe Streets workers are still out there getting paid, doing the great work in Park Heights, and that work will continue until we're able to get the other stuff handled.
What other stuff needs to be handled, and what's taking so long?
All the stuff that we're talking about is things that are privileged information right now, Mackenzie.
Does it have anything to do with payments, or,
Everyone's being paid.
Now, while the mayor says everyone is being paid, take a look at the language from the BOE agenda. It says the contract extension is necessary, quote, to process the final invoices for all remaining funds due. Now, since that conversation with the mayor, I sent some follow-up questions to the mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, MONSE, the agency overseeing Safe Streets, trying to get some clarity about what's going on, but those questions not getting answered today. Mary?
Right. And Mackenzie, this contract extension isn't the only Safe Streets news you're investigating today. What can you tell us about the locations of the sites?
Yeah, so our team went out yesterday and got some new drone video of a few different Safe Streets locations. Take a look. This location you're seeing is the Cherry Hill location, or it used to be at least. It was a trailer that was in that back parking lot there of a health center. You can kind of see the dirt surrounding where the trailer used to sit. And then over in the Penn North area, the Safe Streets location also moved to a new building. Now, these new changes are not reflected on the city's community violence intervention ecosystem website. It shows a map of the Safe Streets locations. Again, we sent some questions trying to figure out where the locations are, when they moved, and why that information is not updated on the city's public website. And again, those questions going ignored. Mary?
Mackenzie, thank you. Well, some new questions this afternoon about Mayor Brandon Scott's former chief of staff, including how much she's getting paid.
Is she getting paid the $160 annual salary or still at the $225?
We'll send you all her direct information about what a salary is at appropriate time, and you know how we discuss personnel matters in a very sensitive way.
Well, Mackenzie will join us again at 4:30 with questions surrounding this highly paid city employee.
In a city in crisis, 2 people were stabbed this morning in North Baltimore. The scene is on the Upton neighborhood. The victims are a 21-year-old woman and 24-year-old man. They are both recovering in the hospital. Police say family crime detectives are investigating. The city's summer crime plan was a big topic of discussion during this afternoon's public safety hearing. Alexa Ashwell listened in as city council members questioned Baltimore police and joins us live now in studio with what people should expect.
Well, Maxine, right now homicides and non-fatal shootings are down compared to this time last year. But Acting Police Commissioner Rich Worley acknowledged crime typically increases during these summer months, and issues such as police staffing and youth violence remain. We're told each district has developed a plan for the summer by first analyzing 5 years of summer crime data. From that data, the department analyzed patterns and trends that help them come up with a deployment strategy. Districts will have access to non-committed resources such as district action teams and K-9 units. The department says force multipliers will also be used, including technology. The budget includes more money for City Watch and home security cameras that Worley says will be useful. The acting commissioner also touted a grant the department received from the governor that will help fund overtime pay for officers. The department remaining hundreds of officers short.
We're not getting 100 officers anytime soon. I think the next class has only got 20 or 22 in it. So we've got to do with what we have and ask our federal partners. But a lot of the other things that have been done, like the curfew initiative, the squeegee initiatives, the work with the homeless, the padlock initiative.
The acting commissioner there speaking to initiatives to address youth violence and crime. More on that at 5. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Alexa, thank you. Don't miss our next Your Voice, Your Future town hall. That's tomorrow night at 7. Armstrong Williams sits down with former Mayor Sheila Dixon to discuss the state of Baltimore City and ways to make things better. That's live tomorrow night at 7 on foxbaltimore.com. You can also watch it on Fox 45 this Saturday at 6 p.m., on the CW Baltimore Saturday at 3 p.m., and on MyTV Sunday at 1 p.m.
A public safety meeting was also held in Annapolis today, 10 days after a deadly mass shooting ended with 3 people killed and 3 others in the hospital. Lawmakers, including Annapolis Mayor Gavin Buckley, County Executive Stuart Pittman, and more gathered to detail their public safety plan, as well as to honor the victims of the Capitol Gazette shooting that happened nearly 5 years ago. In that shooting, a gunman entered the newspaper's offices, killing 5 people and wounding 2 others. Local leaders say more has to be done in Annapolis, statewide, and across the country.
Realistically, do I think, can we fully turn this around without meaningful change at a federal level? No. But do I think that working together here in Annapolis with dedicated partners in the community and the state, that we can make a difference? Yes. Yes, we absolutely can.
Anne Arundel County's plans include improving joint efforts with state and federal law enforcement to remove illegal guns from the streets. Leaders are also focused on improving youth enrichment programs to keep kids away from crime. As of May 31st, there have been more than 19,000 gun-related deaths across the country, including 294 mass shootings.
Well, our next weather maker is here, and that's leading to a very rainy start to summer. We've got showers moving across the state, and the rain is mostly on the lighter side, but we have several more rounds of rain coming over the next week. This is much needed as most of Maryland is under a moderate drought, but temperatures right now in the 60s, and that's well below average for this time of year when our highs are typically in the 80s. We will return to higher temperatures, though, this weekend. I'll let you know how high the numbers get and how much rain to expect in my Weather Authority forecast. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. Coming up, examining the price tag of the proposed red line in Baltimore and looking for less expensive alternatives.
What if they're alive? What if they can't get rescued? What if they run out of oxygen?
Noises heard from the site where a tourist submarine headed to the Titanic went missing. Straight ahead, the race against time as the crew now has less than 24 hours of oxygen left.
The debate continues over the fairness of Hunter Biden's plea deal. I'm Kayla Gaskins in Washington with why some say it might be too early to tell.
Fox 45 News, nominated for 26 2022 Regional Emmy Awards, more than all other local news stations combined.
Baltimore police are on the lookout for 35-year-old Kiera Batty. She was last seen in West Baltimore near the Poppleton Food Market. Kiera was wearing a blue butterfly shirt, blue jeans, and brown shoes. Police say she may be in her 2022 blue Honda Civic. If you know anything about her whereabouts, call 911.
The U.S. justice system is under fire by those who think the president's son is getting special treatment with his plea deal.
Hunter Biden plans to plead guilty to tax and gun charges.
National correspondent Kayla Gaskins has more from Washington.
The fairness of the American legal system coming under scrutiny after Hunter Biden agreed to a plea deal with prosecutors for tax and gun charges, avoiding a trial and prison.
This has been a favorable deal for the Bidens on multiple levels.
Critics calling it a sweetheart deal, another example of a corrupt DOJ with two tiers of justice.
I would seriously doubt any American facing those tax charges or facing a gun charge would be able to say, I was on drugs, so please let me off.
The timing also raising eyebrows. After 5 years of investigating, lawyer Alan Dershowitz pointing out the announcement dropped in the wake of former President Donald Trump's own indictment.
That's not a coincidence, particularly after how many years of investigation? Why now? Well, now because the media on the left is saying, well, this shows equal justice.
Attorney General Merrick Garland fighting back against accusations of a corrupt DOJ, pointing out Donald Trump appointed U.S. Attorney David Weiss, who cut the deal.
As I said, from the moment of my appointment as Attorney General, I would leave this matter in the hands of the United States Attorney, who was appointed by the previous president.
Former U.S. Attorney Josh Fishwick says there's not enough information on the plea deal to know if it's fair.
We do need to hear from Mr. Weiss. He is the one who's made these decisions. Why is the tax charge only going to be a misdemeanor? Why is the gun charge basically going to be dismissed? The American people deserve answers.
Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren says Hunter Biden was treated like any other citizen.
He negotiated a deal, which is what any criminal defendant can do.
President of the Government Accountability Institute, Peter Schweitzer, pointing out it's still unclear what exactly Hunter Biden did to earn the money he failed to pay taxes on.
There is no discernible business service, anything that they performed for that money. You've got at least $30 million coming to the Bidens from foreign entities, Ukraine, Russia, and China.
It's a question House Republicans hope to answer as they investigate allegations Joe Biden's family sold influence and access to him while he was vice president. In Washington, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
Well, we want you to join the national conversation. Just take out your phone, open the camera, and point it at the QR code on your screen. Our question today is, do you think there's a double standard with justice in the Hunter Biden case? Again, you can take out your phone, point it at the QR code that you see right there on your screen to vote.
I mean, it was just so fast. The lights flickered and went out, and then we ran down to the basement, and we were safe and we're blessed.
Residents in the south and central U.S. continue to deal with severe weather. Heat warnings also in effect from Texas to the upper Midwest as residents see triple-digit temps. Some of the same communities are without power from recent tornadoes.
Here at home, we're tracking a weather maker bringing rain to our region. You're looking at live pictures from Ocean City, Towson, and Baltimore. We've been seeing showers, and we have more to come.
Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is here with the very latest. It is finally raining out there, right?
Yeah, finally, but I'm sure many people are going to get tired of the rain very soon. We're looking at it in the forecast over the next 7 days.
Wow.
So not much of a break, but we do need the rain. That's going to help to improve some of our conditions. And today is just the first round. We're keeping track of showers right now moving across the state. The rain is on the lighter side, but if you have to drive anywhere this evening or even tonight, you will be dealing with rainy conditions. This is all part of a larger system. We've got low pressure to our south, and around that, we've got lots of rain impacting the region. This will continue to lift north over the next few days, and our rain chances will increase. 66 for the current temperature, and really not what you would expect for the first day of summer. This is well below average for this time of year. It's also a little bit breezy with winds out of the east-northeast. Across the state, we've got temperatures mostly in the 60s, so pretty mild all around. And overnight, the numbers fall to the 50s and the low to mid-60s. As we head into the day tomorrow, we'll have more rain on the way. So notice tonight, we're still keeping track of showers and potential storms around the state. Then tomorrow, we are looking at a rainy start with showers continuing throughout the day. At times, there could be some areas of heavy rain. And unfortunately, even into Friday as the weekend begins, rain will impact the forecast with potential storms as well. Our rain chances will slightly decline throughout the weekend, but every single day you may need the umbrellas. Even into next week, we're still looking at the daily chance for showers and potential storms. All in all, we're expecting up to 4 inches of rain across the Baltimore area, and to the west, less than 2 inches of rain. Meanwhile, we're keeping watch on Tropical Storm Brett, which is expected to approach the Lesser Antilles on Thursday. After that, it moves into the Caribbean, possibly weakening as it stays north of South America. Tonight, temperatures drop to 60 with showers. It'll also be breezy at times with wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour. Then tomorrow, our high temperatures stay below average once again. We're looking at numbers around 73 with wind gusts up to 25 miles per hour. So expect another gray and gloomy day and breezy at times. On Friday, highs return to the 80s, still below average, but we are looking at temperatures around 81 with showers and storms. Temperatures will rise over the weekend, 85 on Saturday, then 88 on Sunday with another round for showers and storms. After that, high temperatures approach the 90s on Monday. That is above average for this time of year, but we're back to the mid-80s as we approach the middle of the week. Mid-80s on Tuesday and again on Wednesday, and we'll have the chance for more showers and storms into the middle of next week. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. Some new questions about Mayor Brandon Scott's former chief of staff tonight, including how much she's getting paid. Video out of Michigan shows an officer brutally assaulting a teen. The charges tonight. And we have the latest as the clock ticks down in the frantic search for 5 people missing on their way to the ruins of the Titanic. Disturbing video from Michigan shows an officer violently assaulting a 19-year-old. This happened last week in Warren, Michigan, just north of Detroit. There's no audio, but you can see the two exchange a few words before the assault. The officer, Matthew Rodriguez, can be seen repeatedly punching the teen and slamming him on the ground. 2 officers enter the processing room but are seen holding the teen down. Police say the 19-year-old was in custody for an alleged carjacking. Right now, Officer Rodriguez, a 14-year veteran with the department, is on unpaid leave and is charged with assault. The clock is ticking for rescuers to reach those 5 people missing on their way to the wreck of the Titanic. Crews say they have heard underwater noises from where the submersible vanished, but nothing has turned up. Jackie Kent with our Sinclair sister station in Washington State reports as the vessel now has less than a day worth of oxygen left.
Everett, Washington-based OceanGate Expeditions confirms to Como News its CEO, Stockton Rush, is among the 5 passengers on the missing Titanic exploration sub. The race against time for the rescue has brought heartache for many at the port of Everett.
We've got a business down here very close to them. We see them every day in the cafeteria, and
around the yard. We've collaborated and done business with them on a couple of their subs.
KOMO News previously interviewed Rush about the annual Titanic expeditions aimed to monitor the wreck's impact on the surrounding landscape.
And this is critically important when you realize that there are tens of thousands of shipwrecks from World War II, many of which sank with toxic chemicals and fuel oil on board.
How long would it take you?
It was part of KOMO's extensive coverage when OceanGate was building the Titan, the same vessel now missing.
A team of 5 will squeeze into Titan for each dive and view the wreckage on these monitors. To fly the vessel, the pilot uses a PlayStation controller.
Officials confirmed to ABC News the other passengers on board include Titanic expert Paul Henry Nargeolet, adventurer Hamish Harding, and prominent Pakistani businessman Shahzada Dawood and his son Suleiman. These vessels are looking for the sub on the ocean surface, and a Canadian aircraft is now helping with sonar. People in Everett are holding out hope for their friend and all on board.
And everybody here at the port is very supportive of them, and our thoughts and prayers are with them and their families right now as they fight the fight at the boundary of what technology can do.
That was Jackie Kent reporting. The company is not talking on camera, but says in a statement their entire focus is on the well-being of the crew, and they will provide updates as they become available. Well, if the red line becomes reality, Maryland taxpayers will have to shell out billions. We're investigating the costs and how likely the costs could keep rising. New questions tonight about the mayor's former chief of staff. Why some are sounding the alarm about how much she's getting paid.
A Department of Education report shows a steep drop in math and reading scores for middle schoolers. I'm Atrell Nashar with the 2 red flags experts say could get in the way of progress.
It is the first day of summer, and we are kicking it off on a rainy note.
We sure are. You're looking at live pictures outside Baltimore. A weather maker will be bringing rain to our region for the next couple of days.
Let's bring in meteorologist Jasmine Lomax with the latest word on our forecast. Jasmine.
Well, rain is the main thing over the next several days. Today is just the beginning, and it's all because of this low pressure system. We've got rain around that extending into our area. So if you're heading out anywhere this evening or even into the night, you'll notice showers impacting your forecast. So we're currently seeing light rain across the state, but later on there's the chance for heavy rain and even storms as we head into the weekend. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at the timing of the rain and how much we could see in my full forecast. Back to you.
Thank you. You can track this system with the Weather Authority Storm Center right in your hands. Just go to the App Store, search WBFF to get started.
It's been nearly a week now since Governor Wes Moore vowed to revive the Red Line here in Baltimore.
Fox 45's Amy Simpson joins us live as she explores how tax dollars might be spent on this massive transportation project. Amy?
Maxine, Mary, some of those first questions asked about the revival of the Red Line are how much will this project cost and how long will it take? Now, when former Maryland Governor Larry Hogan canceled the Red Line project back in 2015, it had an estimated price tag of $2.9 billion. But those were yesterday's dollars, not accounting for the current inflation or the soaring cost of materials and labor we're seeing today. Now, here's how Governor Moore responded when he was asked about the price tag just last week.
We're still in the process of coming up with the final plan, so we don't know what the final cost is going to be, but we do know that this cost will be in the billions of dollars.
And Amy, the governor also said he plans for the Red Line project to be on time and on budget. How are people reacting to that?
So the president of the Taxpayers Protection Alliance actually disagrees with that notion. He says it's quite often that projects like this are behind schedule and over budget. Take a listen.
This is going to be very expensive. We're talking about almost $3 billion for this 14-mile line. So that is about $200 million per mile. That's expensive. So I'm really concerned about the price tag, but also that it's really not going to serve as many people as they'd hoped.
And with the Red Line being studied as potentially a new light rail corridor here from east to west in the Baltimore region, we're taking a look at the data on both light rail and metro subway ridership here in the Baltimore region. That part of the story is coming up at 5:30. We're live in Baltimore. Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
Amy, thank you. Well, some new questions tonight about Mayor Scott's former chief of staff, including how much she's getting paid. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost joins us live from the newsroom. Mackenzie, what's the mayor now saying about his advisor?
Well, Mary, Mayor Brandon Scott says Chezia Kager moving from one position to another is nothing out of the ordinary. She was named the mayor's chief of staff in November of last year, earning a salary of about $225,000, which was approximately $40,000 more than her predecessor. Then last month, there was a staff shakeup within City Hall. That's when we saw the communications director leave, and that's when the mayor's office says Kager moved from her chief of staff position into this new special assistant or advisor to the mayor. Now, it's unclear exactly what her salary will be in this new position. However, the Department of Human Resources tells us that on paper, that special advisor role pays about $160,000, significantly lower than the $225,000 she was earning as chief of staff. Now, we do have some sources who tell us that she may not actually be earning that lower salary. So we tried to ask Mayor Brandon Scott earlier today about what's going on.
Is she getting paid the $160,000 annual salary or still at the $225,000?
We'll send you all her direct information about what her salary is at appropriate time, and you know how we discuss personnel matters in a very sensitive way.
It's public information, right? Her salary, she's getting paid by taxpayers?
It will be public information, and we'll give you that guys that information in appropriate time.
Why did she stay on the city's payroll if she was changing from chief of staff to now a special assistant to the mayor?
Well, folks move around in offices all the time, so that's not people move from one agency to another. That happens consistently.
She stayed in your office.
Exactly. That happens a lot, too. So this is not an uncommon thing, not within government or in private business.
What is a special assistant to the mayor?
Well, listen, we've sent you a direct response about that, Mackenzie. She'll be advising on things around culture, around dealing with external partners in city government. This is not something that is abnormal by any stance in any sense of the word. Everyone from the president on down has these type of people.
Now, Mary, contrary to what the mayor just said, Fox 45 News never did get a statement from the mayor's office explaining what that position entails. When we followed up this afternoon with his office, we did get an explanation saying that Kager will work on external affairs for the mayor's office. However, in that explanation, the mayor's office did not respond directly about how much she will be making in this new role. We're live in the newsroom. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Mackenzie, thank you. We're making headlines now. A former Baltimore County wrestling coach is standing trial in a sex abuse case. 75-year-old Neil Adelberg used to coach at Mount St. Joseph High School in the 70s and returned to the school briefly during the 2014 season. He is facing 6 charges, including sex abuse of a minor. Adelberg has opted for a bench trial, so a judge will determine if he's guilty of the charges or not.
5 years after a college athlete died of heat stroke at the University of Maryland, lawmakers have introduced legislation to prevent such tragedy from happening again. Jordan McNair died of heat stroke in 2018 while practicing with his teammates. Today, Congressman Kwesi Mfume introduced the Jordan McNair Student Athlete Heat Fatality Prevention Act. The legislation would require collegiate athletic programs to create and implement specific heat illness emergency plans. Senator Ben Cardin has introduced companion legislation in the U.S. Senate.
Well, crisis in the classroom. This most recent school year math scores of 13-year-old students saw their biggest drop ever recorded.
The Department of Education also found reading scores are on the decline.
National correspondent Atra El-Nashar reports on what experts say is behind this.
Falling behind during formative years. The nation's report card, an annual assessment by the Department of Education, shows a steep drop in reading and math scores among 13-year-olds during the 2022-23 school year. For math, it was the largest decline the reports measured in half a century, and reading scores fell to the lowest level since 2004. The commissioner of the National Center for Education Statistics pointing to factors like rising mental health challenges alongside alarming changes in school climate.
Experts are still trying to get a grasp on how pandemic-era school closures played a role in what's often called learning loss, and if it could have been avoided at a time when scientists were racing to understand a novel coronavirus. These days, the topic often turns into a political blame game.
I definitely think the teachers union overstepped their reach. Parents wanted their kids to be in a classroom.
In June 2020, McKinsey issued this report warning about the impact closures would have on students. Health and safety are often left out of this conversation. Even with the closures, COVID-19 became a leading cause of death for people under 18 and, according to the CDC, has caused the death of more than 1,800 kids. According to Education Week, 783 teachers and school staff also died, something critics of the Trump administration point to when examining the merits of school closures.
Or would it be the fault of the president who let the plague run loose and left the nation without a unified, serious plan for managing the crisis?
Learning loss can't be blamed entirely on pandemic policies because, as the report points out, math and reading scores started declining in 2012 and haven't reversed since. Whether they're symptoms or causes of learning loss, the report card calls out 2 red flags. Fewer students are reading for fun, and fewer are taking algebra. What's harder to pinpoint is how to get students back on track. In Washington, I'm Atra El-Nashar reporting.
Thousands of Howard County students are losing their school buses, yet the district is spending millions of dollars more. So where is this money going? Over the last few years, Howard County has significantly increased its students' transportation budget. Next school year, Howard County schools will pay out $45.3 million in transportation contracts. More than half of that amount will go to a new bus company out of California called Zoom that markets itself as the first and only 100% carbon neutral bus company in America. But parents say if the intention is to go green, this is not the way to do it.
That's nice that they want to do electric buses, but if we're all driving our elementary school kids, that's just more cars, more impact on the environment than the electric bus can negate, I feel like. It seems like a big waste of money.
Tonight at 10, Project Baltimore takes a closer look at Howard County Schools' new bus contracts and how they compare to previous bus deals. We're taking a look now at the FOX45 quad box. The governor of Pennsylvania says traffic will once again be flowing on I-95 this weekend. You're looking live at the repairs. It comes more than a week after a section of the interstate collapsed there in Philadelphia.
On Capitol Hill today, lawmakers grilling special counsel John Durham. It is over the investigation into alleged collusion between Trump's campaign and Russia during the 2016 elections. Durham's lengthy report that criticized the FBI will have much more at 5.
The House has advanced a resolution to censure California Congressman Adam Schiff. It's over his handling of investigations into former President Trump. A final vote is happening tonight.
China's rebuking President Biden for calling their president a dictator. Biden made the comments last night during a political fundraiser. It came up as he explained how China's president reacted to the U.S. shooting down of a Chinese spy balloon earlier this year.
I mean, it was slick, calm, it was beautiful. And that's when things fell apart.
A close call on the water, the crucial decision that proved to be life-saving.
And it's a cool and rainy start for the first day of summer, but we'll have warmer temperatures this weekend. I'll let you know how high the numbers get in my full forecast.
A new trial shows a procedure that thousands need each year to keep the heart healthy may be performed safely another way. Medical reporter Liz Bonus shares how it helps in healing time.
Researchers in this study were actually looking at a specific procedure showing promising results for heart valves. That procedure provides another option to the traditional open heart surgery needed to replace a heart valve. It puts a device like this into the heart through what's called transcatheter aortic valve replacement, or TAVR.
So for heart valves that don't open or sometimes don't close correctly, we can put a valve in through the groin so that the function of the valve is restored.
It used to be that TAVR was only used in those who were too high risk for the traditional open procedure. But interventional cardiologist Dr. Jonathan Rapp of Ohio's Tri-Health Heart Institute told me as the TAVR procedure began to be used in moderate and low-risk patients, this new study found
that these valves that we put in through the groin are just as good as open heart surgery.
And as surgeons have continued to perform more of these less invasive valve replacements,
we cross the valve with our new valve. We use x-rays to place it so that we know we're in the right position.
Complications and recovery times have continued to go down. He says knowing this gives far more people another option for this less invasive valve procedure to wipe out what may potentially be life-threatening symptoms.
People get congestive heart failure, chest pain, pass out, or lightheaded or dizzy.
Now, as always, if you have these symptoms, getting to a cardiologist sooner rather than later can give you these kinds of less invasive options. I'm medical reporter Liz Bonus. Back to you.
Don't miss this. The O's clinch a win over the Tampa Bay Rays. The final score was 8-6 with the O's on top. The two teams will face off again today in Florida. The first pitch is at 12:10. Well, if you're cheering on the O's this summer, we want to see. Gina sent us this picture of Mia. She says she's Baltimore's newest O's fan. To upload your pictures and videos, head to foxbaltimore.com/chime in or scan the QR code on the right of your screen. It's powered by Stackla. Plus, don't miss Wine in the Wilderness at the Maryland Zoo this weekend. It's happening this Saturday from 5:30 until 8:30. Guests can sample wines while they walk around the zoo. There will also be food trucks and live music. If you're over 21, head to the zoo's website now to purchase your ticket.
Well, we are dealing with our latest weather maker, and unfortunately, it's bringing rain for the first day of summer. But over the next several days, we're still tracking rain and potential storms. On Friday, highs will be around 81. Then we're looking at 85, slightly higher on Saturday. The hottest day of the weekend will be Sunday, though, with temperatures around 88. Notice every day we will have the chance for showers and storms. I'll let you know how much rain we could see coming up in my full forecast in about 20 minutes. Back to you.
Coming up on Fox 45 News at 5, a community activist group demanding answers from the city how hundreds of thousands of dollars just went missing through the Clean Corps program. The new commissioner says a new influx of officers isn't coming anytime soon. How Baltimore public safety leaders are bracing for crime over the summer. A new round of contracts for the Safe Streets program. What we're learning about the program as we press the mayor for answers.
Communities asking for more police patrols, but there just aren't enough officers to keep up the approach the city's new commissioner is taking to summer crime.
And could funding for a multi-billion-dollar project be better used elsewhere? Breaking down the state's options as the Red Line project is revived.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 5.
And we're following three big stories tonight. Our next weather maker is here bringing rain across the state. We're tracking how long this weather will stay with us. Plus, team coverage on a city in crisis. Hundreds of thousands of dollars of taxpayer funding goes missing. The growing controversy over the mayor's Clean Core plan.
But first, the city spending board okays a contract extension for a community nonprofit managing a Safe Streets site. The issue is the nonprofit was supposed to be done working with Safe Streets nearly 6 months ago. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maxine Stryker in for Kai tonight.
And I'm Mary Bubala. Our coverage begins with Mackenzie Frost joining us live now after pressing the mayor for answers on Safe Streets. Mackenzie?
Mary, Maxine, this contract is with the city and Park Heights Renaissance to operate the Safe Streets location in Park Heights. Now, this is the second time that this contract has been extended. And as our investigation continues, we're also learning that some Safe Streets locations are moving. The contract with Park Heights Renaissance was set to conclude at the end of 2022. But now it says the nonprofit will wrap up Safe Streets work by August 30th, 2023, almost 1 year after Mayor Bennett Scott first announced the management of the 10 Safe Streets locations would be shifting away from the patchwork of community-based organizations.
It's about evolving.
Instead of several nonprofits overseeing the program, aiming to reduce homicides and non-fatal shootings in small zones dotted around Baltimore, management would be done by LifeBridge and Catholic Charities.
At this time, I'll entertain a motion to proceed on the routine agenda.
After the contract extension was approved by the Board of Estimates Wednesday morning,
The ayes have it. The routine agenda has now been adopted.
Mayor Brennan Scott not offering much insight.
This was all supposed to be wrapped up by January. What's going on?
Well, listen, we still have stuff going on. There's a process that you have to go through. We know that Park Heights Renaissance and the city has a great relationship. You don't hear them complaining. The Safe Streets workers are still out there getting paid, doing the great work in Park Heights, and that work will continue until we're able to get the other stuff handled.
What other stuff needs to be handled and what's taking so long?
All the stuff that we're talking about is things that are privileged information right now, Mackenzie.
Does it have anything to do with payments or,
Everyone's being paid.
But the language from the spending board's agenda says the extension is necessary to process the final invoices for all remaining funds due. The contract extension isn't the only red flag being raised now about Safe Streets. New Fox 45 News drone video shows the Cherry Hill location, the trailer, no longer in the parking lot it once sat. That same trailer we've been to numerous times. And the Penn North Safe Streets location, once inside this building, now located around the corner, seen here in a new branded site. These changes do not match with the city's own community violence intervention map, showing the boundaries of the Safe Streets zones and where the sites are located. So we followed up with the Mayor's Office of Neighborhood Safety and Engagement, asking what's taking so long for the management switch to be completed? When did these locations move? Where is the Cherry Hill Safe Streets site? When will the correct information be listed online? And how is the community and the public supposed to know where the locations are if the information online isn't accurate? The latest round of questions come as a city agency implementing Safe Streets will soon have a new leader. Now, those questions we sent today were never answered. And meanwhile, Monzi director Shantae Jackson is set to leave her position inside City Hall next Friday, and it's unclear who will take her place. We're live in the newsroom. Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
Thank you, Mackenzie. Gun violence in the city continued last night. A 37-year-old man walked into the hospital after being shot multiple times. Investigators are still trying to figure out exactly where the shooting happened and what led to the violence. Anyone with information should contact Baltimore police.
So far this year, 129 people have been killed in Baltimore and 292 have survived being shot. Well, both these numbers are down year over year. There are growing concerns over youth crime, mass shootings, and summer crime.
The city's summer crime plan was a big topic of discussion during this afternoon's public safety hearing. Alexa Ashwell listened in as city council members questioned Baltimore police. She joins us live now in studio with what you should expect. Alexa?
Maxine, as we just heard right now, homicides and non-fatal shootings down compared to this time last year. But Acting Police Commissioner Rich Worley acknowledged crime typically increases during the summer months, and issues such as police staffing and youth violence remain. We're told each district has developed a plan for the summer by first analyzing 5 years of summer crime data. From that data, the department analyzed patterns and trends that help them come up with a deployment strategy. Now, districts will have access to non-committed resources, we're told, such as district action teams and K-9 units. The department says force multipliers will also be used, such as technology. The budget includes more money for City Watch and home security cameras that Worley says will be useful. The acting commissioner also touted a grant the department received from the governor's office that will help fund overtime pay for officers. The department remaining hundreds of officers short.
We're not getting 100 officers anytime soon. I think the next class has only got 20 or 22 in it. So we've got to do with what we have and ask our federal partners. But a lot of the other things that have been done, like the curfew initiative, the squeegee initiatives, the work with the homeless, the padlock initiative.
The curfew and squeegee initiatives we just heard, 2 ways the city is working to address issues surrounding juveniles. The city in the midst of a youth crime crisis, with young people both falling victim to and committing acts of violence. So far this year, there have been 11 juvenile homicides and 200 juvenile arrests, half of those for adult charges, including murder. Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Baltimore police are on the lookout for 35-year-old Kiera Batty. She was last seen in West Baltimore near the Poppleton Food Market. Kiera was wearing a blue butterfly shirt, blue jeans, and brown shoes. Police say she may be in her 2022 blue Honda Civic. If you know anything about her whereabouts, call 911.
When there's a situation where money has been possibly stolen or misused, there should be a full investigation and a full explanation.
A community activist group demanding answers from the city tonight after hundreds of thousands of COVID relief dollars go missing. The money was allocated under the mayor's Clean Corps program to Lazarus Wright, a local nonprofit hired to help pick up trash across the city. But as Fox 45's Rebecca Pryor reports, now the city is trashing their contract. Rebecca?
Yeah, that's right, Maxine. Fox 45 has obtained documents revealing that this nonprofit's partnership with the city has been canceled due to misspent federal funding. Now, to some, it's shocking, but to Desmond Stinney, he says it's something they should have seen coming.
This is exactly the scenario we were trying to avoid.
For Desmond Stinney, the man behind Concerned Citizens of Baltimore, a grassroots group suing the city over rolled back recycling services, from the beginning, the mayor's Clean Corps initiative didn't pass the smell test.
It was just so duplicative of what we were supposed to be already getting from DPW.
Designed to offset the heavy workloads of an understaffed Department of Public Works, Mayor Scott's Clean Corps program allocated $15 million COVID relief dollars to 6 nonprofits hired to help clean up underserved communities. A substantial cost Stinney believed warranted further investigating.
We researched many of the nonprofits, and the things that we're finding out are completely shocking.
And Lazarus Wright in particular had some serious red flags for you.
Very serious red flags.
Lazarus Wright, a nonprofit that assists ex-offenders with reentry, was one of the Clean Corps awardees, or at least they were. At the start of this year, the city signed the nonprofit to a 2-year, $1.6 million contract. But in just 4 months, a fourth of the funding gone. According to documents obtained by Fox 45, by May, that contract was null and void. The city citing a misuse of funds, potentially totaling up to $267,000.
It's just disappointing.
But Stinney says not surprising. The referenced red flags found in a simple case search, revealing the owner of Lazarus Wright Christopher Irvin, facing significant financial hardship. The city filing foreclosure on Irvin's home last July, and 4 months later, Irvin declaring bankruptcy.
And we certainly made our concerns, known as we realized that the Lazarus Wright was set to receive money.
Concerns Stinney says the mayor's office and the city's law department ignored.
We didn't get any direct response back from the administration. All that we got was notice that the award was actually given.
In March, Fox 45 interviewed Irvin on his nonprofit's cleanup efforts as his crews swept away waste.
We're trying to get Baltimore to a better place.
Just weeks before Irvin's contract was completely swept. And now our attempts to reach him for comment met with an out-of-office email.
Hi, you reached the phone for Christopher Irvin.
And unanswered calls.
Sorry, mailbox is full.
Now, in that termination letter, the city says Lazarus Wright will have to pay back any of those misused funds. Tonight, I reached out to the mayor's office and the law department, asking them how much of that money was actually misspent, and then did they properly vet this nonprofit before they handed them a lump sum of $400,000 at the start of this year. But as of News Time tonight, our questions going ignored. Reporting live in Baltimore City, Rebecca Pryor, Fox 45 News.
Rebecca, thank you. Well, our next weather maker is here. It's all cloudy skies and rain across Maryland today. This is a live look at the conditions in Baltimore, Towson, Ocean City, and on our weather radar. We've got the latest on what comes next with these storms. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax is in now with the details.
Thanks, Maxine. We are keeping close watch on the radar as those showers continue to move across the state. This is the first round of rain, but we have several more opportunities for rain over the next several days. You will need your umbrellas likely. Here's a current look at the HD radar, and we are keeping track of showers moving over the state. Most of the rain is on the lighter side, but as you drive, just make sure that you're driving safely this evening and tonight. This is part of a larger system. We have a low pressure system around the Carolinas and rain around that impacting much of the region. We'll continue to have increased rain chances once again tomorrow, and then storms on Friday and on Saturday. But you'll notice our temperatures gradually get a little bit higher, making it feel more like summer as we approach the weekend. Coming up, I'll have a look at the timing of the rain, and I'll let you know how much we could see in my full forecast. Back to you.
Put the power of the Weather Authority Storm Center in your hands. Download the free WBFF Weather Authority app for your smartphone and use our powerful Doppler radar to follow storms right down to your street. Just go to your app store and search for WBFF to get started.
Roads have gotten more deadly in Maryland in the past 3 years. According to a new report, the fatality rate in crashes statewide is up 16% from 2019, and crashes contributed to more than $29 billion in damages in 2022 alone. The spike in Maryland follows the national trend, with the fatality rate up 19% from 2019.
The money could be used for thousands of buses, tens of thousands of cars, and so much more, putting the potential cost of the governor's Red Line plan into perspective and looking into the alternatives.
Does her work justify the pay? Looking into why the mayor's former chief of staff is still one of the highest paid employees in Baltimore.
I'm Christine Frizzau on Capitol Hill, where we heard from former special counsel John Durham, what he says about his findings in his 4-year investigation. Coming up.
Well, it was a top mission for Republicans after Robert Mueller's report looking into ties between the Trump campaign and Russia. They said they would investigate the investigators. Well, last month, the special counsel assigned to do just that released his final report.
In it, John Durham said the FBI failed to uphold their important mission of strict fidelity to the law. He appeared on Capitol Hill today to explain why. As national correspondent Christine Frizzell reports.
Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that...
On how he'd characterize his 4-year investigation into how and why Crossfire Hurricane started in the first place, former special counsel John Durham said this.
Our findings were sobering.
Those findings include that the FBI ignored significant exculpatory information and failed to pursue leads that were inconsistent with their initial theory and relied on an unvetted dossier authored by Christopher Steele to get a FISA warrant to spy on Trump campaign advisor Carter Page, knowing the findings were paid for in part by the Hillary Clinton campaign.
There is not a single substantive piece of information in the dossier that has ever been corroborated.
On Capitol Hill, warnings from Republicans that politics could also be at play with the current Trump indictment, dealing with his handling of classified documents.
Now we have an indictment of a former president who's winning in every single poll by his opponent's Justice Department.
Democrats accusing Durham himself of excluding information in his report, like a Trump Tower meeting between Russian officials and Donald Trump's son, son-in-law, and then campaign advisor, and of ultimately not recommending any wholesale changes in FBI policy.
You got no convictions, you got nothing. It was all set up to hurt the Mueller report, which was correct and was redacted, to hurt the Bidens, and to help Trump.
You only filed 3 criminal cases. You only brought 2 cases to trial, correct?
Correct.
And you lost all the cases you brought to trial, correct?
Correct.
While we likely won't hear from John Durham again about this report, we do expect House Republicans to continue to use it as an example of what they call a 2-tiered system of justice. Durham, by the way, was appointed by Trump's former Attorney General Bill Barr, who says even if half of the charges in the classified document indictment are true, quote, he's toast. In Washington, I'm Christine Frizzell. A live look to the Capitol, where earlier today, Congressman Kweisi Mfume and Senator Ben Cardin introduced the Jordan McNair Student-Athlete Heat Fatality Prevention Act in the House and Senate. That policy will require athletic programs to create and rehearse emergency response plans for when an athlete overheats. The bill inspired by Maryland football player Jordan McNair, who died from a heat stroke he suffered during a practice in 2018.
ProPublica reports Supreme Court Justice Samuel Alito took an unreported luxury trip with a billionaire Republican donor who at the time had business before the court. The report also states Alito took an Alaskan fishing trip and flight on Paul Singer's private jet back in 2008. It comes after multiple reports revealed undisclosed travel expenses from Justice Clarence Thomas.
The FAA launches a new safety program after a series of near collisions. It's called the Stand Up for Safety campaign. Air traffic controllers are now required to attend monthly training sessions to reduce incidents, and supervisors will also be required to be more hands-on during busy times.
Taking a live look outside now, we are tracking rain moving across the state. On the left, that's the Inner Harbor. On the right, Towson and Ocean City. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax here now with the very latest on our wet weather. And Maxine, she told us earlier it's going to last for a while.
Yeah, I never like that because there's nothing worse than being stuck inside with a toddler.
With rain coming down, I remember.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to find some fun activities because we've got rain over the weekend. We've got rain into next week. But this is going to benefit Marylanders. It's very dry, much of Maryland in a moderate drought. However, the rain that we see will help to improve conditions. We are keeping close watch on the HD radar as showers continue to move across the state. The rain is on the lighter side right now, but we are looking at the chance for a few areas of heavy rain later tonight and then again tomorrow. This is all caused from a low-pressure system that's leading to rain around our region. That system will gradually lift to the north over the next few days. Temperatures sit at 66. That is well below average for this time of year. For the first day of summer, it certainly doesn't look like it, and it doesn't feel like it. We've got temperatures around the state mainly in the 60s, and overnight, they drop just a few more degrees. We're looking at the 50s and the low to mid 60s as you step outside in the morning. We will have more rain, though, on the way. Notice as we continue on, we've got showers tonight and into the day tomorrow. Even into the afternoon, we're looking at another round of rain and potentially some areas of heavy rain at times. This will continue into the night and then into Friday, where you can expect storms on the way. Not a great way to start the weekend, and unfortunately after Friday, our rain chances will still be in place on Saturday and on Sunday. We've got showers and storms for both days, and that's followed by scattered showers and potential storms as we head into the upcoming work week. So over the next 7 days, there is the daily chance for showers and potentially storms. We're talking up to 4 inches of rain around the state, and that will help to improve some of the drought conditions. Some areas below 9 degrees below average or 9 inches below average for rainfall. Notice Tropical Storm Brett is expected to move toward the Lesser Antilles by Thursday. After that, it moves into the Caribbean, where it's expected to weaken. We're also keeping watch on another wave that has the potential for development. 60 for the low temperature with showers and breezy conditions. Wind gusts could exceed 30 miles per hour. Tomorrow, we're looking at temperatures around 73. So once again, staying well below average for this time of year. It'll be another gray and gloomy day, and it could be breezy again with gusts up to 25 miles per hour. We'll return to the 80s on Friday with highs around 81, mid-80s on Saturday, upper 80s on Sunday, low 90s on Monday for a steady warming trend, but we are looking at temperatures in the mid-80s for the middle of the week with the daily chance for showers and more storms. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. Well, don't miss our next Your Voice, Your Future town hall tomorrow night at 7. Armstrong Williams sits down with former Mayor Sheila Dixon to discuss the state of Baltimore City and ways to make things better. That's live tomorrow night at 7 on foxbaltimore.com. You can also watch it on Fox 45 this Saturday at 6, on the CW Baltimore Saturday at 3, and on My TV Sunday at 1. She's making more than $100,000 a year, but it's unclear what she's doing for the city, pressing the mayor about his former chief of staff. Experts say they have less than a day's worth of air left. The latest on the search for a missing passenger sub in the Atlantic. Developing now, the search for the Titan submersible continues as time is running out. The Coast Guard is bringing in more ships and underwater vehicles to search for the sub and its 5 passengers. Last night, there was a glimmer of hope as rescue teams heard a pounding sound coming from somewhere in the search area. Now, despite the fact that passengers are set to run out of air in a matter of hours, officials say they are not giving up.
Oh, this is a search and rescue mission, 100%. We are smack dab in the middle of search and rescue, and we'll continue to put every available asset that we have in an effort to find the Titan and the crew members.
The full scope of the search is twice the size of Connecticut and 2.5 miles deep. The Titan hasn't been heard from since Sunday. Its passengers are estimated to have as little as a day's worth of oxygen left. Experts are also skeptical of the Coast Guard's ability to complete the rescue, even if they do find it, due to the depth the passengers could still be stuck at.
I don't see how they can bring a cable this deep with a robot. They need another submersible with an artificial arm that can tie the submarine to the other one, and then they would surface together.
Rescue crews in both Canada and the U.S. are searching. We'll continue to update this developing story as we learn more. Billions of dollars could be used for the governor's Red Line revival, asking a taxpayer advocate if it's the right use of funding and looking into what else it could be spent on. On a list of 150 locations, Baltimore is near the very bottom. Why a national survey just named Charm City as one of the worst-run cities in America.
I'm Angela Brown in Washington, D.C. The spotlight is on organized retail crime crippling major retailers, but today we are turning the spotlight on family-owned businesses, sometimes the only grocery store in a neighborhood fighting to stay open.
We need to make sure that everyone in the region can get from where they live to where opportunity lies.
It's been nearly a week since Governor Wes Moore vowed to revive the Red Line in Baltimore, and a taxpayer watchdog is worried about the price tag for this massive transportation project.
Fox 45's Amy Simpson joins us live as she explores how tax dollars might be spent on the Red Line. Amy?
Maxine, Mary, the governor says that the Red Line is still being studied. So right now we don't know if this will be a new light rail corridor, a rapid bus transit corridor, or a combo of the two. With a promise of connecting communities from Bayview to Woodlawn, Maryland Governor Wes Moore is resurrecting Baltimore's Red Line.
This is going to happen.
And while he vows for the Red Line to become reality, the governor says right now it's still too early to know how much it'll cost.
We're still in the process of coming up with the final plan, so we don't know what the final cost is going to be, but we do know that this cost will be in the billions of dollars.
When former Governor Larry Hogan canceled plans for the Red Line in 2015, the project had an estimated price tag of $2.9 billion, but those were yesterday's dollars, not accounting for current inflation or the soaring cost of materials and labor. In New England, Boston's Big Dig project from the late 90s and early 2000s is considered by some to be the largest highway project in American history. And a recent analysis of the project by NASA says the estimated cost of the Big Dig surpassed $14 billion, more than 5 times the initial estimate.
We plan on this being on time and on budget, and so I think it's a bit premature to say that they're going to be cost overruns.
President of the Taxpayers Protection Alliance says he's wary of how the Red Line's budget could balloon.
Quite frankly, I think the price could go up for a number of reasons because everything is always behind schedule and over budget.
David Williams weighing in on Fox 45 Morning News this week.
And this is going to be very expensive. We're talking about almost $3 billion for this 14-mile line. So that is about $200 million per mile. That's expensive. So I'm really concerned about the price tag, but also that it's really not going to serve as many people as they'd hoped.
The Red Line project is intended to connect communities to opportunities, things like school, new jobs, or access to health care. Though data from the Maryland Transportation Authority shows Baltimore's rail ridership has been on the decline for a decade. The blue line here showing yearly Metro subway ridership, the orange line, light rail ridership. This taxpayer advocate supports transportation alternatives other than a new rail corridor.
An enhanced bus system. And what this does, it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper to have buses. It's a lot cheaper to operate buses.
Colorado's Department of Transportation estimates a new transit bus could cost anywhere from $250,000 to $280,000.
Welcome aboard the MTA.
Meaning $3 billion for the Red Line. Could also buy more than 10,000 buses for rapid transit in the Baltimore region.
And what I love about buses is they're flexible, is that you can deploy them through other parts of the city. Once you build a light rail system, you're really stuck in this one area.
And while the governor was unable to give a price tag for the Red Line just yet, he was more confident giving a potential timeline, saying construction could begin as soon as 2026 or 2027. We're live in Baltimore. Amy Simpson, Fox 45 News.
Amy, thank you. As we just heard Amy say, $3 billion could fund more than 10,000 new transit buses for the Baltimore region. Crunching the numbers further, $3 billion could also buy more than 66,000 brand new cars worth $45,000 each.
Well, a public safety meeting being held in Annapolis today, 10 days after a deadly mass shooting ended with 3 people killed and 3 others in the hospital. Lawmakers, including Annapolis Mayor Gavin Buckley, County Executive Stuart Pittman, and others gathered to detail their public safety plans, as well as to honor the victims of the Capitol Gazette shooting that happened nearly 5 years ago. In that shooting, a gunman entered the newspaper's offices, killed 5 people, and hurt 2 others. Local leaders saying more has to be done in Annapolis, statewide, and across the nation.
Realistically, do I think can we fully turn this around without meaningful change at a federal level? No. But do I think that working together here in Annapolis with dedicated partners in the community and the state, that we can make a difference? Yes. Yes, we absolutely can.
Anne Arundel County's plans include improving joint efforts with state and federal law enforcement to remove illegal guns from the streets, Leaders also focused on improving youth enrichment programs to keep kids away from crime. As of May 31st, there have been more than 19,000 gun-related deaths across the nation, including 294 mass shootings.
New questions about Mayor Brandon Scott's former chief of staff tonight. Kezia Kager was named Mayor Scott's chief of staff in November of last year. She was making $225,000, which was about $40,000 more than her predecessor. Then last month, Kager moved into a special advisor role. The switch was part of a staff shakeup when the mayor also lost his communications director. Her new job came with a lower salary, $160,000 annually. But today, Mackenzie Frost questioned the mayor about that amount after finding reason to believe Kager may not be earning that lower figure.
Is she getting paid the $160 annual salary or still at the $225?
We'll send you all her direct information about what her salary is at appropriate time, and you know how we discuss personnel matters in a very sensitive way.
It's public information, right? Her salary, she's getting paid by taxpayers?
It will be public information, and we'll give you that guys that information in appropriate time.
Why did she stay on the city's payroll if she was changing from chief of staff to now a special assistant to the mayor?
Well, folks move around in offices all the time, so that's not people move from one agency to another. That happens consistently. Folks
she stayed in your office.
Exactly. That happens a lot too. So this is not an uncommon thing, not within government or in private business.
What is a special assistant to the mayor?
Well, listen, we've sent you a direct response about that, Mackenzie. She'll be advising on things around culture, around dealing with external partners in city government. This is not something that is abnormal by any stance in any sense of the word. Everyone from the president on down has these type of people.
This afternoon, we did get more clarity about what her role will be moving forward. However, the mayor's office still not answering directly how much money Kezia Kager will be making as a special assistant.
A new nationwide survey is evaluating how well cities across the country are being run, while Columbus, Portland, and Louisville all land in the top 50. As Megan Gillen reports, Baltimore is near the bottom.
A new survey here from Wallet Hub actually ranks the best run cities in America, and it shows that Baltimore is one of the worst run cities. Look at this, 132 there out of 149. The survey says Baltimore is tied for the highest violent crime rates with Memphis, St. Louis, Detroit, and Little Rock, Arkansas. And when it comes to education, it's the third lowest on the list for graduation rates at 146. Lifelong Baltimore resident Pastor P.M. Smith says he's not surprised.
I'm not surprised. You're not surprised. Nobody is surprised. We need to put this in context. Wallet Hub is a website out of Miami. It's been around about 10 years. And what they do is help people with their personal finances. And then beyond that, they tell you where to go to get the biggest bang out of your buck, whether you're buying, investing, or whether you're vacationing. And so that's why they do these surveys. We're in trouble.
You mentioned this is nothing new. We've seen this before. Why is nothing changing?
Nothing is changing because we keep putting the same people back in public office without asking what are their values, because their values will dictate their policies, and their policies are what have gotten us where we are.
You can see the full results from Wallet Hub survey on our website, foxbaltimore.com. I'm Megan Gillen, Fox 45 News.
It hurts my heart to leave Mount Vernon like this. Our blood, sweat, and tears, along with our employees, is in this building.
As we've been reporting, Eddie's of Mount Vernon is set to shut its doors for good. The store's owner saying crime in the area has gotten too severe for them to carry on, with chronic shoplifting and employees being put in danger. It's an issue that's not unique to Baltimore. National correspondent Angela Brown has the details on how crime is impacting small businesses locally and across the country.
Many neighborhood grocery stores can't afford to spend thousands of dollars to upgrade cameras or pay for security. Now they're facing tough choices. It breaks Dennis Zorn's heart to close Eddie's in Mount Vernon and Baltimore. But after talking to him, you may understand why.
Chronic shoplifting and the violence that went along with it. We had 2 knives pulled on us in the last year trying to stop shoplifters. And I don't want to expose my family nor my employees to that.
Rampant theft crippling family-owned grocery stores with deep community roots. Family-owned Superlow Foods in Memphis telling local media that thieves are walking out with shopping carts of products, hurting the community because they had to raise prices. Retailers say another consequence of crime, new stores afraid to open.
That hurts our ability to support and serve these communities, to support and serve customers, to get people back into these urban areas in some cases.
The USDA estimates 18.8 million people, or about 6.1% of the population, live in a food desert, which brings us back to Eddie's, not a big box store chain worth billions, but in some ways more valuable. It's the only grocery store in this Baltimore neighborhood, soon closing.
I'm really bummed. I love Eddie's.
When the only store closes, people living in underserved communities may turn to fast food, dollar stores, often selling unhealthy food choices, and it could take years to get another grocery store in their neighborhood. In Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
Thousands of Howard County students are losing their school buses, yet the district is spending millions of dollars more. So where is the money going? Over the last few years, Howard County has significantly increased its students' transportation budget. Next school year, Howard County schools will pay out $45.3 million in transportation contracts. More than half of that amount will go to a new bus company out of California called Zoom that markets itself as the first and only 100% carbon neutral bus company in America. But parents say if the intention is to go green, this is not the way to do it.
That's nice that they want to do electric buses, but if we're all driving our elementary school kids, that's just more cars, more impact on the environment than the electric bus can negate, I feel like.